Hey guys, Brent here with another ACP Faith in a Minute. I was listening to a friend of mine and a pastor named Sean the other day, and he brought up a really good story I haven't thought about in a while. But first, let me bring this up. So, have you ever gone about life thinking, this isn't what I want, I don't have everything I want more than this? So, right now I'm shooting this in my house, and I've lived in probably 6 or 7 houses. This is not the nicest house in the world. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's got its problems. It's older, it's got some electrical problems. Sarah and I have lived in several houses before this, but each one has been a little bit bigger, a little bit different, and each one took care of our needs at the time. This house has been a shelter to several of our friends. It's been big enough for us to have 2 kids. It's been big enough for us to take in a friend when she needed a place to go and give her a place to live for a while too. It's not perfect. My yard is not perfect. My house is not perfect. But it's enough. And that's all God ever really promised. And that's all God ever really needs to provide for us, right? It's enough. So back to my friend Sean. So he was talking in his sermon the other day, and his lesson came out of 1 Kings 17. Starting in verse 10. And it's a story about Elijah and the widow. I'll make the story short and I'll post the link later in the video. Elijah comes along to a widow and they're in the middle of a drought. And he's like, hey, would you give me some water? Well, that's a big ask when you're in a drought. Okay. And then he asks, hey, will you make me some bread? And she says, honestly, I've got just enough bread and just enough oil for me and my son to have one last meal before we die. And he said, you know what, go ahead and make that loaf of bread, but make me some first, and I promise you it will be okay. The widow makes the food for Elijah, and he tells her, the jar of flour shall not go empty, nor the jug of oil will ever run dry until the day when the Lord sends rains upon the earth again. Elijah said, you know what? You'll have what you need. You'll have enough until the earth is restored, until God sends rain again. And guys, that's all we're promised, and that's all we really need. God promises us enough. So next time you start to go, I wish I had this, or, I had this, but I wish I had that instead. Remember, God gives you enough to take care of what you need. He didn't promise to make you rich. He didn't promise to make you wealthy by the world's standard. He promised you, as a follower, to always give you enough for what you need. And that's good enough for us. This has been another ACP Faith in a Minute. Thanks for joining us.